Let me ask you guys a question. Do you believe that Sparking Zero, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, is dead? Let me know in the comment section below if you believe it's dead and why. Because it's just been announced that Sparking Zero has had the lowest amount of players in its history, as well as the fact that not many people seem to be enjoying it or talking about it. And there are a lot of tweets and posts and videos talking about how it's done. It is dead. And I can tell you exactly the reasons why. There's one main reason, but there are other reasons as well. So I'll talk about the other reasons first, and then I'll tell you the main reason at the very end. But I wanted to know your guys' opinion on it. Do you guys think the game is officially dead? Do you guys still play with your friends? Let me know in the comments, because I'm going to go ahead and start off right now. So first and foremost, I think that it is dead because there is absolutely no new characters being added to the game at a consistent basis. Of course, if you got the game early, you got DLCs. You could buy a few DLCs past that. There were Daima characters, a few other ones. I don't even think we're at Super Saiyan 4 Goku yet. I haven't checked. I haven't looked. As you guys can see, the gameplay in the background is not Sparking Zero. It's Fortnite. And that is intentional. I'm proving a point here. Why it is not Sparking Zero and it is Fortnite. Because Fortnite to me is one of the better examples of a game that continues to evolve and is super relevant. Just like another game like Marvel Rivals, super relevant, continues to evolve. To do that, you need added hype. You need something new. What does Marvel Rivals and Fortnite both have that Sparking Zero does not? New characters. So if you unlocked every single character, which most people did within the first month or so on Sparking Zero, you'd have to now wait for the DLCs to come out, and then you'd be stuck with the ones that you'd have, right? That is a serious issue when you have Marvel Rivals dropping new characters, and you have and Fortnite dropping new skins almost every week, multiple times a week. And even if you don't want to throw in new characters into the game, right? For whatever reason, you could go down the Marvel Rivals route. The Marvel Rivals route is adding new skins. Can you imagine adding new, a summer skins for Android 18, Videl, other characters like that, Broly? Having those summer skins would have added more hype to the game. That's development time. That's adding more to more bang for your buck. And Sparking Zero doesn't have that. And it's crazy because it doesn't even need that. It does not need that. It doesn't need the skins, although they would be nice. But Sparking Zero has something that Rivals doesn't really have. I mean, in a sense it does, but in a more broader sense it doesn't. And that is playable characters that are in separate universes, like either that or fan made. Now Marvel Rivals has Marvel characters, and they've been added and implementing different Marvel characters throughout since the game released. And there's a ton of Marvel characters too you can add in there. But I would imagine that adding those characters into Marvel Rivals is a lot harder than adding just random characters in Sparking Zero, because Sparking Zero for the most part has characters that some of them play very similarly, and you can add new types of characters very easily, I would imagine. I don't know, I'm not a developer. And Marvel Rivals does have a roster filled with characters, but they are choosing which ones specifically. Sparking Zero has a ton of characters, and none of them have been chosen to be put into the game without you buying extra DLC. Which brings us to my next point. The model that they have right now when it comes to playing the game is outdated. Marvel Rivals and Fortnite, you can jump on without buying anything and have a good time and play. Once you're invested with the gameplay, then you end up buying shit. I know because I play Fortnite religiously and I've spent a good amount of money on it because I like the skins and I like the characters and like the music. They're always adding new stuff for me to enjoy. And because they add so much, I enjoy the game even more and I want to play it even more. Sparking Zero, you had to pay $60, or I think it was more than that, to play the official game, which I did. And then you have to buy each individual DLC. The DLC model is dead. At this point now, buying the video game model is also dead. Unless you're something like GTA 6, people don't want to buy $70 games. I think GTA is going to be $100. They really don't. They want to play the game and enjoy it. That's why Steam has such a huge audience, because all those games are mad cheap and you can just jump right in there. Some of them are free and you can just jump right in. Sparking Zero, you have to pay for it, and then you get what you get and you don't get upset and you have to wait for more DLC or pay for it. And if all the DLC has come out now, which I haven't even checked, again, I'm not playing the game. If all the DLC is out already, then you're stuck. They haven't added anything extra. They haven't added more stuff. No new outfits, no new music. Imagine if they put a Bruce Faulkner track or packet in there. You can level up to get a few tracks and then you can buy the rest. Like having Gohan's original theme, Super Saiyan original theme added into the game would be phenomenal. Shit, having a feature to add some rock and roll music in there, like some of the original AMVs, Linkin Park. That would be amazing too. You would need to know ball to get to that point, and it's obvious that Sparking Zero developers don't know ball, at least not here in the States. They're stuck there in Japan, and so you get this old antiquated model of playing a game, and it sucks. It really does. Now, I did have sort of a section here where I wanted to talk about the gameplay. I played it a little bit ago. It's fun. It's still fun to me. The problem isn't that it's not like that it's bad gameplay, right? The problem isn't that it's bad. It's not fun to play. That's not the problem. The problem is that a lot of games now, when you jump into them, it's not all about just like, especially with a fighter game, it's about equilibrium. Every character needs to feel like it's equalized. So that way, you can play, when you play the game, you can at some point be like, I'm playing with the pros, I'm playing ranked, and I can actually I can play and have an even footing with other people. That's what the culture is right now for gaming. I mean, Marvel Rivals and Fortnite, two of the best examples here. Fortnite, every season has a new meta, but overall your character still jumps, slides, and plays the same. This new season with these medallions in the Power Ranger season, these medallions, they remove them because they are so freaking broken. And if you added them to one character, two of them to one character, it would make you a god. It makes you Ultra Instinct, and it's not fun to play when one person has these divine supernatural abilities. It's not fun. That's what happened with Sparking Zero. I already knew it was going to be an issue because Budokai Tenkaichi was the same. Each character is completely lopsided, and if you smashed a combo, it would be less effective than just spamming a button. If you spammed the button and spammed an attack over and over again, you could win. But learning the combos, you probably lose. You probably lose. That's how Tenkaichi was. And so I already knew that was going to be a huge issue. And that's the reason I really don't want to bring it up, because there's really no way getting around that without losing what makes Sparking Zero Tenkaichi essentially. And so, but you could add that in there, right? You could have added that in there, but at the exact same time, if we were getting music packs, outfits, new characters, even like fan-made characters, all sorts of stuff like that. People wouldn't even think about the gameplay like that. They'd be like, oh, I want to play with this new character. I want to play with this. This new stage has just dropped. Like new stages too. The core of any fighting game is who you fight and where you fight, and they have the same stages. They haven't introduced really many new ones. I don't think they introduced one since the last time I played. And so you would need to introduce more. And they have not done that. They have not done that. That's why the game is stale. That's why the game is boring. Because nobody wants to jump in. And lastly, how the hell are you going to have this game in 2025, 2024 and not give us any fan-made or what-if characters that we can play? Because they have Gohan Black in the game, but you cannot play him. That's insane. You already have the model in there. You can't give it to us to play? In Tenkaichi 3, we had different characters we could play with that were what-if characters. Even before that, you could fuse to create what-if characters. You cannot do that with this. And I'm telling you the reason why. Because Sparking Zero is deliberately been shot in both of its legs. And it's limping across because it only was meant to make the amount of money that its initial sales were supposed to make, and then its DLC. That is it. It is not a continuous game that evolves and is given love. Because why? Because that's the way they do it over there, just like Xenoverse. They want to keep adding games and games and games and selling us on more games. In another year, we'll probably get Sparking Zero 2, then Sparking Zero 3, and then Sparking Zero 3 may have the majority of what I'm asking, but probably still will miss. And that's the reason people don't really want to play Xenoverse. And that's the problem. And to me, that's the reason Dragon Ball games are really not fun. They're not fun because they're made with only money in mind, not the player in mind. Rivals is the rival to anything over there that's coming from Dragon Ball in gaming. And it's doing a much better job. I can jump in right now and enjoy it. As I was saying, actually, what I was saying earlier when it comes to the way the games are played is that so Fortnite has that meta, right? And then Rivals has the meta where each character is like, it's almost like you're part of a D&D party or you're part of an MMO. Each character has its own mission to do, its own thing that you can do in a group. You're only fighting groups. But in Sparking Zero, you fight single-handedly by yourself. So if your character is completely weaker than the other character or doesn't have a spammy move, you're stuck, you're screwed. And lastly, now that I finished that point, the reason that Sparking Zero is dead is because Dragon Ball is dead. Dragon Ball as a whole is dead. Now it's funny, ironic, because I have a Dragon Ball channel. But as you guys have seen, I've just been dropping random videos of things that I like, some fan projects here and there, and just some discussions, and that's basically it. Like, I'm not, and the views, yeah, they've tanked because Dragon Ball is not alive right now. It's dead. And it will come back. Dragon Ball is not going anywhere. It's gonna come back, and when it does, I will talk about it even more. But it's dead right now. There is no manga. There is no movie. And Dragon Ball Daima was literally the nail in the coffin for it. Like, Dragon Ball Daima was the nail. Because as amazing as it is, and as much as I love Dragon Ball Daima, especially since it is Akira Toriyama's final work on this earth, right? The reason that, to me, it's just it's what killed Sparking Zero, and really what killed Dragon Ball overall is the fact that we got the ending story by a creator which was his last project, with no announcements of anything in the future, including the manga. We don't know where we're gonna place it. We don't know where it goes. We don't know where to put this story at all. Like, Dragon Ball Daima is in between Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, which Dragon Ball Super, and that includes all the way up to Superhero, is in between the ending of Buu and the ending of the end of Dragon Ball Z, where you meet Oob. It's like Inception. It's a world within a world, basically. But then it doesn't make any sense because there's so many things in Dragon Ball Daima that do not make sense for Dragon Ball Super. So where do you place Dragon Ball Daima? It's confusing. It doesn't make any sense. It has no explanation. We haven't even gotten an explanation on the fusion bugs yet and why those were even named if they weren't used. So without any of that hype, of course Sparking Zero is going to tank. Who's going to be hyped over Daima characters that were in something that was at the ending and confusing. Who's going to want to do that? Who's going to want to continue playing the game? At least Marvel Rivals has the MCU that's still going, even though it's not as good as it used to be. It's still going. It's still chugging along. They just dropped a little bit ago the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 skins for the Guardians. Like, they always bring the new stuff in and new characters. Plus, they all even have a new added feature in Marvel Rivals, where they're gonna add non-comic book characters, like new ones that are generated original for Marvel Rivals. Like, they're growing. Fortnite's the same way. Fortnite can get skins from everywhere, can get hype from everything, but they also still have to make a consistent story for BR. And that's exactly what's happening now with the Power Rangers. They've made a story with the island and bugs. It's literally Helldivers x Power Rangers. It's insane. Like, you have to have passion, and the creators of Sparking Zero have already moved on to Sparking Zero 2. Dragon Ball Daima, everyone working on Daima in the manga have already moved on to the next thing that will come probably next year at some point. So there's nothing going on right now, and that's why Sparking Zero is dead. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.